Welcome back to GTM. Today I want to talk about the Eberlestock X1 Euro in the sand coloration. This is a pack that I got probably in the cold months, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. And I've been running it as my primary pack for everything, for the woods, for travel, just like for fun travel, through the airports and whatnot. And a range bag, of course, because it's got a rifle scabbard built into it. And today I'm just running a rifle that has the SWFA 10X on it. There's a bipod that's usually on this rifle. This is the Umarex Fusion, by the way. Usually there's a bipod on there. Doesn't fit super well in the scabbard. I'll show you some close-ups again in a little bit. I have some previous videos detailing that, but the bipod never fits very well in there. And if I do shove it in there, it usually extends the bipod. So this is basically how I run it most of the time, except for the mat that I'm sitting on is usually laced up in here between these buckles. So I'll give you some close-ups and I'll go over some of the details. So normally there'd be a scope on there. I have the scope off for now, so I'm working on something. And so this is a shorty rifle. This is the same length as my 16-inch barreled AR, as well as my CZ22. And it fits in the scabbard without it extended just fine. In fact, it's a really convenient height because it comes right down to about the point where it's enough meat left over to grab it and pull it out. So I kind of like that. It's the right height for my back, and I'm 6'5", and then it also fits a 16-inch gun really well, but it can fit all the way up to my 26-inch Savage 12FE. So it's a decent scabbard. And all you have to do is pull this guy out. And that tail right there, it's enough to cover up the majority and a safe amount of my 26-inch barreled Savage. So it's a pretty decent scabbard. So I thought I'd just go over some of the contents, what's in my bag, and what's reasonable to expect out of this pack. First of all, on the exterior, I have a couple things hanging off here, like a one tie. I like to use one ties. I just attach it to the zipper so I don't forget it's there, and I remember to use it when it's convenient. I have some ears. There's lightweight molly on the side of the bag. They really make a big deal out of that lightweight molly, and I don't know if it's that big of a deal, but it seems strong enough to me. It's sewn well. Nothing has ripped within that region. I'll get to another spot in a little bit. It's got some big pockets on the sides for your drinks. They're expandable. They can fit a pretty good sized Nalgene. And there's also some retention straps next to the handle. And I do actually use this quite a bit when I'm using it like a piece of luggage. I kind of tighten up the straps and then just carry it from the side. There's a pretty good strap actually. On the other side, I'm just keeping a hat, some of the range gear in here. Usual things, some extra ears. And I've added two things to this. I can show you here. I added a dump pouch, and this dump pouch is handy if you're backpacking, you're traveling, and you want to have something that's accessible up to the front. Just like that. And over here on the other side, I decided to no longer keep my medic pack or my medical gear in the bag. I didn't really want it to take up more space when there was a convenient spot. To my right side hip carry, I can still attach a pistol up here on this web gear, and this sits just a little bit back. It's still real easy to get to, and I don't need to go through the entire contents of the med pack. It's kind of a lightweight kit. There's enough gauze and medical gear there for if you got shot and you were really lucky and it was not traumatic as heck. I always carry a tourniquet with me on my belt. Right now I'm carrying the rat tourniquet. If I can just show you part of it here. There you go. Carrying a rat right now. Sometimes I carry a cat, but usually the rat because it's really lightweight and I can lace it through my belt. Let's look inside the bag. Alright, so there's a kind of primary pocket here for, I don't know, maybe your keys, things like that. I keep markers, some wipes, get that lead off my fingers, mosquito net, extra pair of ears because my friends never remember them, trash bag, and a pen. So I try to keep my bag, honestly, I've limited myself to what I can include in bags to what I actually need. And believe it or not, I do need all those things just about every time I go anywhere, especially if I'm going to be outside. Bugs are really bad at nighttime you need a mosquito hat in Minnesota. I have the bipod. This is the large version of that UTG 360. I just did a review on this. Check out that UTG 360 video if you're curious. This is the large one, and I use that with my pellet rifles when I attach Picatinny to them. Inside of that, I have kind of an emergency kit, as well as range tools and just common tools that I tend to need. So there's like a multi-tool and other stuff in there. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this pouch opens up pretty well. There's a good amount of space. A lot of times I carry my full steel in here, my full set of steel, if I'm shooting to, say, 400 yards. Everything that size that I need, I can fit in this one pocket, and it's quite comfortable. Actually, it doesn't weigh it down too much. One thing I should mention, I didn't mention about the scabbard, is it does have a drain hole and some reinforced rubber on the bottom. So if you're worried about dragging it through the woods or it getting caught on things, or just kind of getting worn out towards the bottom like normal fabric does, actually this seems pretty rigid, pretty well built. Stitching is looks good to me. Looks like some solid stitching. One pocket I almost missed here was this side pocket, and this is actually a really convenient pocket. So I keep some of this marker, trail marker. A lot of times I'll use this as a sort of a wimpy wind flag. And then some gloves, another marker, another pair of ears, because my friends never remember their ears and they always use mine. I don't know how you forget that. How do you go shoot and you don't bring... Anyways, so that's kind of stuff I keep in the lower half. Definitely when I'm carrying steel, by the way. I know heavy things usually go up here, but a lot of times I like to keep my ammo and some other things up here just for access. And it's just been really convenient and not painful to my back at all. I can't feel it at all, even if I'm carrying, let's see, a 10 and a full size, a 1/3 size IPSC, and then a 4-inch target and a 2-inch target. I keep all those in here, and I've carried those several times. It's heavy, but it doesn't hurt. It's very comfortable, and I can't feel it at all through the pack anyways. One thing I'll mention while I'm throwing all this junk back in is I use permethrin on my gear. I know a lot of people, if you're worried about bugs, and especially ticks, ticks is a really big concern in my area. Actually, one of the worst places in the country for wood ticks happens to be my area, so lucky us. They're really, really bad. We don't have some of the southern ticks, but we do get a lot of cases of Lyme's disease, and you got to be pretty diligent to check yourself over. So I hose my gear down with permethrin really heavily. And it's safe for kids, like even my baby. Once it's dried, it's safe on their clothes, so I like that stuff. All right, let's go to the outermost and uppermost pocket. So inside of here, I have an extra gun sock, and I have a really big handkerchief type thing. What do you call it? Shamog. And some Kleenexes, because if I take my wife with, or my kid, they're gonna need one of those for some reason, every time. So it's a good size pocket. I actually could fit a lot more in that pocket, and it'll stretch out quite a bit further. Each pocket seems a little stretchy, but I just don't want extra gear in here. I don't really want the bulk either. Especially when I bring this to like competitions or something, I need extra space in there. So the next one is a shelf pocket. So I can open it up. It's gonna have a hydration clip at the top, just like you would expect. I have a rear support bag in there. This is the Midway USA medium size bag. It's kind of heavy. I really like it. It has done me well. It's got 2 Velcro straps on it. It's been a good bag. Then I have a dump pouch inside. And so there's your hydration port. You don't really need to see that, but there's a pocket inside in here, and it's just Velcro. And you can pull that rectangle pocket out if you need to. All right, so I figured I'd show you the one complaint that I really have with this pack so far is right in here. If you can see that, there's a rip in the scabbard, and I believe it was from one of my big extended turrets grabbing on it from the SWFA, shoving it in there. It's got some knurling on the turrets, and yeah, it grabbed it pretty good, and it's just ripped it a little bit. The rip doesn't seem to be continuing, which is a good sign of the stitching, but the stitching is only single stitched, and I think that's why it was allowed to rip in the first place. It's just not double stitched up here. For the price that you pay, this typically sells for like $229. I got a little under that actually. I think I got it for $179 if I remember right. For a pack that retails much higher than that though, it really should have double stitching in here. That's my opinion. The rest of the pack doesn't show any signs of wear. I haven't had any rips, and I looked this thing over well because I really wanted this pack to kind of show me, is it worth spending that extra money? And so far it definitely is. I would recommend this pack highly. I'm going to get to that portion in a second. I just need to slow down and show you. There's some damage. It's ripped it out. There's kind of a clear foam insert in there, just the protector to the scabbard. But it hasn't ripped more, and I don't see signs of extra wear in there. I'm a little bit more careful about it now, but I've been rough on the bag. That's the truth. I should be honest about that. I've been pretty rough on the bag. And if that's the only complaint I have about it so far, I guess that's not a big deal. Let me check out a couple more things with you here. On the spine, like I said, I'm 6'5", 225 pounds, so I'm not like real heavy set, but I really like these shoulder straps. I weighed this pack down quite a bit. For a pack that's just a little bit above medium and a little bit smaller than a large size pack, it's not something you can really call an extra large pack for sure. Maybe a large pack. I call it in between medium and large anyways. This pack has a pretty good range of adjustment. It's definitely going to be more beneficial to medium-sized people. That's how most backpacks are built. Unfortunately, for an adjustable pack like this, I would really like to have seen it have a back that was maybe 2 inches taller. It doesn't bother me, and it still works really well. I just would have liked to see about 2 inches more height, or at least 2 more of these indicators here, options, to bring up the shoulder blades and have that hip strap come down a little lower. It's really interesting. The hip straps on this pack, there's this black, like, I don't know if it's just plastic that's woven together in this weird pattern. It's not particularly comfortable on your bare skin. Like if you're wearing a tank top over your shoulders, it's not particularly comfortable. Wait for this car. Anyways, it's not particularly comfortable, but it's really padded well. Like it's not dampening, it's not getting thinner or anything like that. It's not wearing out, so it must be a plastic sort of material, but it works great. It's very, very comfortable. As long as I'm wearing a shirt that covers up the actual contact spot, it's great. I can ratchet this thing down. It doesn't wear on my sides over a long time. It seems like after the several months, I use this pack once a week, at least once a week somewhere. And so I've actually got a fair amount of time carrying it and just using it. And the back straps are excellent. The air breathing in here is pretty good. I've used it the majority of the time was during the winter, and so this is kind of my first summer with it, but it seems pretty good. I'm really happy with what I see in here. The ventilation is just awesome compared to every other pack that I've owned personally. And the straps and things like that, the adjustability, it's very good. This is the only pack I've had that actually could truly fit me. Even though I wish it was 2 inches taller, it's the only pack I've had that truly fit. So like I said, there's a shelf in the backpack in the upper half, and I keep this big dump pouch in there. I'm trying to remember who this is from. No advertising on it. Oh, it's Lancer. This is a Lancer bag. It's the one that has like a PVC rim in it. It's a pretty firm piece of gear. And I was doing some stuff with the little P09 ASG. And there's just some other gear in here, ammo and stuff. So I typically use this in that shelf because it helps me if I go on a day hike or I don't want to wear that pack around or carry the whole thing around. I can grab a rifle or a pistol or my water bottle, whatever. I don't have to carry the whole pack. I can just hook up on this. This is really strong. It's a really tough dump pouch. I love dump pouches, actually. They're super convenient. Lightweight, very tough. It's double walled. This one happens to be very thick. I can just grab this guy and head out with it. So I appreciate a dump pouch pretty well. And I appreciate the shelf in here, especially because it's just the right height to get the things I need in here. I can keep some other items inside the bag if I need to bring extra rear bags or some big bags for like some sort of stage or course where I'm going to need extra support. This is plenty big enough to get them inside or attach it outside, so I really appreciate the shelf. I didn't think that would be something I cared that much for, but actually just 2 large main compartments like that have worked really stinking well, and the lack of extra pockets inside of that big pouch are easily modified with just a dump pouch. So pretty awesome bag so far. I'm really happy with my purchase. So ultimately, the reason that I got this pack was because I needed a rifle backpack, something I could carry a rifle in, and it would get me by and lots of other uses. I didn't really want it to be only a range bag because I already have bags that are kind of range bags. I already have a dual rifle case from Midway that has backpack straps, but it's not very comfortable. And I needed something where I could hike out some distance with it. So, you know, backpacking, woodworking, range gear, and just general travel. And now I've used this pack for all those things several times actually. Like I said, I use it at least once a week. And it's been really good. It's been a really good pack for me. It's super affordable compared to some of the other ones. Trying to think of some of the, like Mystery Ranch and some other packs like that. They might be built better. They might be even more rugged, more durable. But I don't really know about that. I think this is probably, as far as civilian use goes, it's probably about as tough of a pack that I will ever need. I really appreciate that I can get just about every rifle that I've owned in there, with the exception of an AR with a mag. It has to have the mag out to really fit in there nicely. But I can fit just about everything I need in this pack, and the shoulder straps are fantastic. I've been walking around quite a bit today with this, just in filming and doing other dumb stuff. And the shoulder straps are probably twice as good as every other pack I've had. And I was just so sick of those like junky, what would you say? Anything like under 70 bucks. I don't want to name brands, I suppose, but just those backpacks that are kind of built to be sold in a Walmart, if you know what I mean. No offense to those bags. I guess they serve a purpose, but they're not really long-term use bags. Let me get you a study here. It's hot. So this backpack, ultimately, probably for somebody who needs a medium-sized bag, doesn't want an extra large size bag, but has the potential to become, you know, much larger. You can carry a dump pouch on it. You can attach things to the molly. I've attached my Predator tripod to this before, so I can sit up above the weeds if I can't sit in the prone. I always carry a mat on me. The weight dispersion is great. I can go up and down hills really comfortably with this. It doesn't get all off balance like when I used to attach rifles to the further exterior of the bag. I had a field line bag. I used to attach the rifle on the other side. Those I find awkward, and I end up banging them against things. And this protects the rifle really well, and it doesn't scream tactical if I don't have all this stuff attached to it. If I just go on a trip and I don't want a lot of eyes on me, most of the time I could just get rid of the scabbard, take the things off the sides, and nobody would really see that much of a difference. So if this is a pack that you have more questions on, you can go ahead and comment below, and I'll try to get to your comments and questions, try to answer them as thoroughly as I can. Overall, this backpack for me is a keeper. I'm not going to be upgrading to one with a bigger scabbard even. I just will deal with taking my bipod off for now. That's not the end of the world. As far as big optics and big rifles, like I said, it fits my Savage 12 FE with a burst 34mm optic on there. It's not a small operation, it's really big. I just take the bipod off each time and tighten it back on. That's not that big of a deal to me. If I was hunting, I probably could just shoot off the pack. I could just shoot off the ruck anyways. It's got a nice rigid frame, so you can shoot off it sitting up or laying down, and it's such a modular pack, but doesn't have the look of a lot of the, you know, screaming tactical bags. So that's my 2 cents about it anyways. If you have an Eberlestock and you've had a bad experience, I really want to hear from you. Comment down below. If you have had good experiences, I'll hear about those too. Thanks.